Hello, it's Yahtzee Crowshaw again, and this is my friend. What's your name today?
Baron Connect 4 the Third.
Thank you. And today we're feeling in a European kind of mood. Ho-he-haw. Mm-hmm. This is an old adventure game from the sunny shores of France.
Oh, really? Oh.
Developed by Delphine Software. Are you familiar with them?
Actually, yes, and this weirds me out because I am not familiar with this game, because I'm a big fan of Delphine's work.
You're probably more familiar with
the console games of Another World.
Another World, also known as Out of This World in the United States, and Flashback, released in 91 and 92 respectively. This game was released in 89. This was before they were good. If you look down there, Eric Chahi,
yeah.
That was near enough the sole developer of Another World or Out of This World. This game
is like E.T.'s ship.
It's called Future Wars, or Les Voyageurs du Temps, as it was originally known.
I wonder what it's about.
Well, if that exciting intro got you good and ready for an adventurous space odyssey, then
that's a pretty impressive...
And you're going to be disappointed, because now we are some fuck.
Look on his face, it's going to be tough. That is, I mean, for a game in 89, this is all very impressive. I think that is really Delphine Software's...
I think if this game has one saving grace, it's Eric Chahi's background art, which looks great.
Yeah,
The characters are all universally fucking tiny. Fortunately, to compensate for the characters all being tiny, all the items you have to pick up are very large and... Not really, this is a pixel hunt jamboree.
Well, that was how they made games hard back in the day. You had to really, I think it was a test of your examining abilities.
It was very annoying, though. Because they also, zoom into things when they need to.
Oh, well, that's at least nice.
And here's another obnoxious quality of this game.
Yeah.
You have to walk up to something to use it.
I love that that's the one piece of reality they cling to, ignoring, how you can't actually just open windows like that in major skyscrapers.
No.
Ever.
No, you can't. Because the wind would blow everything out of the room immediately.
And it would be suicide.
And I'm going to keep these text boxes up for about as long as it takes me to sort of skim read. So if you for some reason want to read them, then you might want to be quick on the pause button, viewer.
One of the many people who suffer from adult illiteracy. It's not something to be ashamed of. You can get that sorted.
That whole come a little closer business, you will see how obnoxious that will become at some point in the game.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Now, we don't know anything about our protagonist. We've seen aliens coming down and killing creatures, killing people, rather. But that will not actually come back into things for some time. For now, we are some fuck goofing off from his window cleaning job. And we don't even have a name. If you mouse over the character, it just says, Hero! Although we will be doing nothing particularly heroic for a long time.
Yeah, it's feeling like this. I'd like it if that opening, this little cinematic, had nothing to do with anything. It's actually just this dull guy's day-to-day life, and the whole game's just a meta wank in your expense.
Pretty much. We have kicked over a bucket, and now we have to fill it again. This is our only heroic task at present.
Do not put insecticide in coffee. There you go, you're a hero.
Without the context of the rest of this game, we are basically at this point just some fuck ransacking his boss's house.
Well, that's part of the, rise up 99%. Take your boss's insecticide, yeah.
We're being a good little drone for now, though.
Well, good drones manage to stay fed.
There's occasional good writing in this, I will admit. But one of the interpretations I have of this game is that the main character is retarded. And I'm not saying that disingenuously. I genuinely think he has learning difficulties.
Actually, yeah.
Do you see that tiny pixel in the toilet?
Yep.
That is an item.
To be fair, it is like a glaringly red pixel.
Well, I guess. But
little flag. Of course, I thought it was matches. Of course it's a little flag. That makes much more sense.
Tell me you do not think I'm close enough to pick up the little flag at this point.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. This isn't even the most obnoxious example of it in the game.
Oh, that's loads of fun. That's... exactly like it reminds me of when Delphi tried to make a fighting game and they did Shaq Fu. So
we could go back out to clean the window now, or we could just stick the bucket of water on the door that the boss comes out of.
I'm actually enjoying this so far.
I want to put this in context. I had this game as a kid on the Amiga, and when I bought it, I had the choice of either buying this or The Secret of Monkey Island.
You fucked up.
I certainly did.
To be fair, though, I've done that exact same thing. When I bought my Dreamcast, I had the option of getting Ready to Rumble or Blue Stinger. Now, one of those you'll have to Google because it's so abhorrently terrible.
At this point, the character's supposed to rush out of the room, but if you click, like as we demonstrated in Hugo 2 last time, you can like fuck up that bit of programming.
And have the boss just stand there, presumably drowning in an infinite bucket of head water.
Yeah, the weird thing is the water goes into and out of the bucket as he waves his arms around.
Well, it is called Future Wars. Perhaps we're in some kind of amazing future with nano water that can just rearrange itself at will.
We're not in the future. I'll spoil that now. We're currently in the present.
Or 1989.
Did you? Yeah, 1999. Did you pick up on the fact that the game's title is subtitled Time Travelers?
Yes. I did happen to notice that.
So I'm trying to close this door because I got into my head that the cupboard...
that is going to be really bad, isn't it?
Yes. I got into my head that the cupboard I needed to open was the one directly behind the door, but I'm actually wrong. It's the cupboard to the right of the door. But
that's exactly... Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly the point where I'd have a tantrum about this come a little close. Especially because it's an imprecise point and click. Like that's...
Yes, it is very imprecise. You'll notice that the main character also has no standing still frames. Just the walking frame he was in when he stopped moving, he just stays in that.
Just like every human does. The NPCs standing around waiting for buses.
This is the game I've actually been meaning to Let's Play for quite a long time, because way back in 2007, for the Something Awful Let's Play forum, I did a screenshot Let's Play of Flashback, which I will probably provide a link to now on this video, in annotation somewhere, hopefully. So that was
Note to self. Put on connect link to...
Yes, there was a typewriter in that cupboard that has a 4 or 5 digit number on it. We will need that. And I just want to point out that we picked up a plastic bag and insecticide in the last room. If we didn't pick that up, we will end up in a situation where we cannot succeed and cannot go back.
Oh.
Yes,
those are mean, man.
Now, this is the puzzle I got stuck on for the longest time the first time I had this game, because I knew the solution. The solution was to put the flag in the map, but the map isn't an item. The little hole, 1 pixel big, is the item you have to use the flag on. I did not pick up on that for some time. I became very familiar with these first 3 rooms of the game.
It is, like, especially when playing games that you've played before, and thinking, okay, this time I can get through it without having to consult an FAQ or without losing my shit. And somehow that again proves disastrously wrong.
I'm trying to save the game, but I've failed to notice that the backup drive is A, which used to be the floppy disk drive on computers.
Yeah.
But,
that used to be a thing.
But can't find the disk. Now I'm unable to save, so I'm thinking, oh shit.
Because if this saves through DOSBox, doesn't it, you'd have to set up a dump file or set up a partition file thing for DOSBox to understand where you're saving
trying to access the bloody keypad. But I think I've got a little time left. But when it reaches the top of your head, the roof, rather than animate you crouching or animate you ducked, the roof just slams instantly to the ground.
I like how it said the ceiling was a bit low. Not you got crushed.
I somehow got the impression you'd think worse of me by this point.
I'm not you. I actually understand that these games are old. You forget how to do stuff. You forget to do stuff like set, the A drive to something you can actually save to.
Yeah,
I don't sit here and nitpick over tiny mistakes, Yahtzee. See, that's...
I was a little bit rattled.
It's called being a friend.
Oh.
I accept all your failings.
What happened to you, man?
I quit drinking.
We used to hate people so much together.
Oh, hate's easy, Yahtzee. Compassion, that's where the money is.
The time scale for entering this code is... The code, incidentally...
Do you have to operate each button individually?
Yep. Incidentally, this was the code we found on the typewriter in the cupboard. So perhaps our boss is in on whatever this crazy room-crushy conspiracy is.
It would stand to reason.
And now we found a secret laboratory in this building. I just want to point out that we still don't have anything relating to a quest.
Well, that's what I've noticed going back through Gabriel and I and a few of the other old, adventure games I've been playing again lately just to, find something to do for myself. When they don't have a clear story goal or what you're meant to be doing, that makes the problems borderline impossible to solve.
Well, it's the same is true of non-video game storytelling. If there's no coherent reason for any of us to be doing these things... we'll be going through this again.
Come a little closer.
So we press the green button, and we can use the time machine now, but if we don't do this...
You'll fry?
Spoiler warning, this is a time machine. If we don't put this sheaf of paper in the slot and press the button and collect the documents that come out, then about an hour from now, we will be failed and cannot finish the game.
And see, that's That's frustrating because, again, at this point you have no idea what you're even doing. So there's been no reason to understand that you needed to do that. I find that really obnoxious puzzle design. Like, you just... There's no reason to suspect that that's a puzzle, so why would you do it? It's one of these things where the game seems to be made for the kind of autistic human being that can just click on every pixel with every single thing until something occurs.
Yeah, it's stupid video game logic, because there may be a reason for the player to do it, but there's no reason why this person would be doing it. Spoiler warning, we're now in the Middle Ages.
Ooh.
Although, considering that...
This feels like a precursor to Daikatana.
Fortunately, this time machine apparently travels in space as well as time, because since we were at the top of a skyscraper when we went through the time machine...
didn't just manifest you a few, 100 meters in the air.
We would now be plummeting to our death. Incidentally, if we stand anywhere except on green pixels, we will sink and die.
I bet that was fun to discover.
Certainly was. And I haven't demonstrated that because these mosquitoes will do it for us. Yeah, those are mosquitoes. Mosquitoes that just hang around in a swarm in one specific spot.
Oh, there's blowflies. Not blowflies. What are they? Little fruit flies. You get little clusters of those. That said, if you're a human being and you get killed ever by a cluster of fruit flies, good. Well, get out of my gene pool.
That's part of my argument for why this character has learning difficulties. Just the fact alone that he put a bucket on his boss's door as some idiot prank. And you can imagine his Mr. Bean-style gummy grin as the boss pulled the bucket off his head.
And, every day it's him at a new menial job, as, with hilarious results.
Yes, he's like the one stooge. You find a pendant! Exclamation mark.
Because finding a green pendant amidst that would just be fuck easy.
I like to think that whenever in the text box there is the words in block capitals with multiple exclamation marks after it, our character actually bellowed that at the top of his voice.
That is exactly how I will understand the rest of this game.
Yes,
I think, I'm probably being harsh on it, but for 1989, this is actually pretty sophisticated. I mean, a point-and-click interface... I mean, by Sierra, Sierra by this time was just doing shit where you had to guess and type and...
It's a pretty bad point-and-click interface.
Still,
you have to right-click to open the menu and select a verb before you do anything. And when you click to walk somewhere, you just walk there as the crow flies. There's no pathfinding. You don't walk around obstacles.
Well, I mean, again, 89, it's like when the retarded kid in the classroom that was more or less completely untended to because we didn't have special, teachers because our school was underfunded. And every now and then, he'd get really close to getting his 5 times tables right. And he got close. And that was good.
We're dead again, by the way. Because we walked into a medieval village while dressed like a present-day window cleaner.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't freak out that bad. I mean, they'd stare at you and probably go, hey, outsider, but...
Well, I guess they wanted to nip any possibility in the bud of you causing too much of a stir in medieval times.
With your future ideas.
Yes, because I think mentally we're probably on the same level as a lot of people around here now.
What are you going to do, hang yourself?
So rather than... Yeah, well, you could be forgiven for thinking that, but rather than walk to the left as any sane person would... We find that we just have to climb this tree and sit in it and marvel at the sky and the clouds for a few minutes.
I was pretty sure you were being facetious when you came up with the he's got some kind of, neural issue, but no,
he
you're
really
right.
does, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He's probably got, Bell's palsy or something. Now, when you pay attention...
It's a physical thing. I don't think there's Bell's palsy a mental thing.
I don't even know. I just picked a name out of my head.
I don't want to offend the Bell's palsy people.
As luck would have it, a stranger... walked by for some skinny dipping.
So steal his clothes, yeah.
And nick his medieval outfit. Now, I hope you, remember the sprite of the guy who just dived into the water.
Because you're going to see it again?
You're going to see it again very soon. It's possibly sooner than you think.
We're not going to get 4 pixels of cock in this one? The guy doesn't get out of the water with his wang hanging out and chase after you screaming?
No, they're doing the Monkey Island thing where they... Look, it's the same guy! By some strange coincidence, you had exactly the same haircut.
Yeah, it's like the saint of bowl cuts just came by and went pa-ting and just blessed you.
Well, where did he get the shoes from? Where did he get the shoes?
Made them out of mud. That's what everything was made out of back then, mud and dung.
So those monks happen to not be there now. We're happy. We're free to wander around this village, which consists of a castle and a pub, which I think sums up a lot of medieval communities pretty well.
Sums up a lot of Brisbane communities.
Mm-hmm.
Except the castle's more of a gated community these days.
This background made it look familiar. It kind of looks like if the tree wasn't there, it would kind of look like the place where the intro took place. But that was taking place in the far future. So I'm not sure what to think. You might think that's intriguing, but
It's
it isn't.
not.
It's got nothing to do with anything. They probably just reused a background.
Yep, screw it. Let's go, it's lunch.
They are nice backgrounds, though. Well done, Eric Chahi. Did you play From Dust? His most recent game.
No, that does ring a bell, though.
It was interesting. It was completely unlike anything he's ever done, so it's hard to, judge him.
I was going to ask what he's up to these days, because I remember Another World and Flashback are two of my fondest 16-bit video game experiences.
Eric Chahi was pretty much the sole developer on Another World.
Well, I mean, Another World was one of those ones where it's just such a small, singular experience, and then you get Flashback, which is much broader, but...
It really does have excellent storytelling, Another World, because there's virtually no dialogue in it. And then there's this.
I didn't even see it. There's a few words I don't understand.
Yes, we're now we're almost about to get into the quest. We're inches away from actually finally finding a quest for our quest adventure.
If I pushed a button on something at work and found myself in the Middle Ages, my quest of get the fuck back to the future would be pretty friggin' simple.
His first priority was have a pint. Yes, if you can't interpret this rustic dialect, basically they're talking about how someone female has gone missing and that has upset someone male.
Yep. That would upset me.
Now, if you...
Where'd my domesticated vagina go? Quick, fetch it.
If we tried to do this before we did that thing in the pub, the guard would have said, come back later. But if we use the pendant now, then he'll say, come in, my master's waiting.
I want you to do like the dialogue now for all these guys.
No.
Bust out some voice acting chops.
Reading out the dialogue in a Let's Play is the sign of a terrible Let's Play.
Yeah, but you could do it in a funny voice. That is a beautiful background, I must say. Again,
I don't want to. Yeah. Props again to Eric Chahi. But all the character sprites are always so fucking titchy.
Well, I mean, you've only got so many points. You can't have chat and strength.
Now, this is a very talky moment. Basically, he's just going to go, oh, my daughter's gone missing, go find him. And there's full of, little hints that maybe this guy knows more than he's telling. But basically the gist is, you found the pendant of your daughter, and he apparently suspects the local monks, because who wouldn't suspect the local monks? The local monks who beat people to death for wearing the wrong hat.
Well, our modern-day monks, abduct and molest children, so can only assume that hasn't really changed.
That's Catholics, man. Monks are different. Monks are nice, quiet people who make wine.
Don't they make Frangelico?
Yes, amongst other things. There's not much else to do when you've taken a vow of silence, I suppose.
Sit down, shut up, make booze.
Yes.
God.
That was a funny little joke.
No, it wasn't.
This game sometimes has pretensions to having a sense of humour, which will lead to some quite...
that was great. May the force be with you.
Quite painful moments.
Fuck that zinger. I mean, come on, 89, that thing was old by then.
Yes. When did Return of the Jedi come out? Would have been around then, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was earlier, because Jedi was...
Anyway.
No, it was way earlier than 89.
Anyway, having now secreted a long pointy object in our medieval pants,
awesome,
we can now use it to get a cassette thing from the road. I don't know if you noticed, but during that conversation with the old man, we said our first coherent sentence as a character.
I did not notice.
Did you notice?
And I was trying to read that too.
It was basically you saying, "Fear not, sir, I will find your daughter, whether it would have me move heaven and earth to do so."
Okay, I know this person. This is exactly the kind of developmentally disabled human that will go to, Nova and just talk like that all day.
You know something? I could have cut this sequence, but after thinking about it, I decided not to.
No, well, see, that's what I mean. To do a proper Let's Play, if a sequence is long and shitty because of some aspect of gameplay, I think that's important to maintain. Come a little closer, come a little closer. How the hell? I wouldn't even know how to get closer to that.
I know.
And I think, yeah.
The box is something like 3 by 4 pixels that you need to be standing in.
It is relevant to understanding the function of the game. If you edited this out and made it look like you just went up and got it, that would unfairly make the game look well designed.
I know people might take the wrong impression that this is a good game.
Yeah.
Who wants that?
I mean, that's what it's explaining how you play the game. Did it take this long? Yes. Is it because you're retarded? No, it's because they're retarded.
One interesting thing I picked up on playing this game as a kid was that while earlier in the game, if you weren't close enough to something, it went come a little closer! Exclamation mark in a sort of like playful kind of tone of voice.
Come closer, child.
But now it's much more businesslike. Now we have a quest.
Yeah.
Now it's go a little closer.
Get your ass to Mars.
Go closer. What the hell are you doing? Don't stand behind the root. Can't you tell? It's on the other side of the tree.
Yeah, I know. And again, like, by this stage, I'd have given up. I got to think, oh, maybe I don't use allowance to get that.
Well, you obviously do, because it keeps saying go closer, which is the hint that is.
So will it only actually say that if you're doing the right thing and not narrate? It won't just say that as a default.
It will actually, yeah, it will do that.
Well, there we go.
The right thing. So it's like dangling the fruit of success up over our nose, but we can't quite reach it. Is this the one?
This is
no.
Jesus, this is not an effective creation of realism, Delphi.
Well, I think we abandoned that when a retard travelled back in time.
I like to imagine that's just all that'll happen. Like, we'll get some sort of, space downer from the future, just come back and not be able to explain anything.
By the same principle that we sent monkeys into space.
I want to hope the future hasn't gotten to the point of sending people with Down syndrome back in time as an experimentation. I really hope that doesn't happen. I don't want to live in that world.
Well, yes, we're not comparing people with Down syndrome to monkeys. We really like people with Down syndrome.
Hey, I really like monkeys.
Yes. But we are talking about sending them to their death.
Yeah, but imagine being the monkey that got shot into space. Like, that's...
I imagine the enormity of that event would have been lost on you.
I don't know, man. I mean the monkey's getting launched into space. It looks outside. It sees the whole world. That'd be like something just appearing before me and going, hey, check out the universe.
Hey,
I mean, that would have been something.
A monkey perceives only two things. Another monkey's butt and a banana. It would look out into that window and go,
holy shit, you got it.
Oh my god, that is the biggest another monkey's butt I've ever seen in my life. And what a strangely shaped banana.
I saw the space monkey's butt. It was amazing. We all live on it. You don't understand.
I dropped acid, drifted into the desert, looked up into the night sky, and I saw the space monkey's butt.
We need to do more research on giving animals drugs. I want to see a whale trip balls. I know that'd take a lot, but I want to see that.
You'd need like several bucketfuls dropped directly into the blowhole.
Worth every minute.
So now we're...
I'd take acid with it and try and have telepathy.
Now that medieval costume was tragically short-lived. We'll never see it again. We're going to be wearing this lovely monk's robe for the rest of our time in medieval Europe.
Yeah, the game just turned into Loom.
Yeah, I can see that. You do
a much better game.
I thought about doing Loom.
Oh, Loom's great. Loom's good. Loom's one of my favourites.
Now here's an example of a puzzle that we will... This is a timed puzzle. We fill the plastic bag with water and got to find a use for that before it leaks. Completely leaks.
I love a game with no sense of actual time taking, having timed puzzles.
Yeah.
What the...
Yes, there's a...
Is that his penis? Is that blue wang?
It's a very well-trained wolf.
Why has it got a blue wang dangling beneath it?
You know, I never noticed that before. Now you mention it.
Yeah, look at it.
There's a strange glowing blue wang. I know what to do with that. Play water balloon fights. It was a robot wolf. Yes, the medieval castle was being guarded by a robot wolf. I'm gonna have a little drinky now.
I like that the robot wolf was defeated by water and not like some kind of science.
Yes,
seriously. Because water existed in the Middle Ages, and I'm pretty sure chucking shit at it, like chucking water at shit, was like the solution to most things.
Now, you know how like awkward the walking controls is in this?
Yeah, you gotta follow these guys.
Yeah, because if you do anything other than follow the exact same path they walk, they will round on you and beat you to death.
A spy.
Because you walked in an anti-clockwise... You walked in an anti-clockwise direction, that means you are a spy.
Well, dude, Mecca. I mean, you're not allowed to do that shit at Mecca. If you fucking go to Mecca and walk the wrong way, you're gonna have a lot of fucking trouble on your hands.
Yeah, this is medieval Mecca. That's
pretty
exactly
much
where we are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's so obnoxious.
You bumped into it,
if you walk one frame, pixel in the wrong direction, they will, and because the
giving you a puzzle based around game mechanics that are so poorly implemented.
Exactly, and the maneuvering controls are such arse.
Yeah, this reminds me of getting across the bridge in Hugo, where the game is working against you. It's not a puzzle, it's the game just arm wrestling you at every...
Exactly. This is another part of the game I got stuck on for the longest time, because it's back as a kid when I didn't have access to walkthroughs.
Oh, God.
Just for some reason, I latched onto the idea that spot of light in the middle of the hall looks exactly like the spot of light that transported us back in time in the first place.
A valid...
So I kept trying to run into the centre of the room and try to stand in it before I got beaten to death. But
Not to be.
No, apparently that's just a bit of visual shorthand that was unintended, and it's absolutely nothing to do with anything.
Now, kill the guy.
Now, the thing we're supposed to pick up on at this point is that the monks seem to be using strange words, even for the time.
And speaking in what I'd refer to as a general English dialect as opposed to Old Englishy gibberish.
Well, the old man in the castle was speaking modern English dialect. Isn't it something like if going like 200 years out of time
Becomes unintelligible,
and basically the language is completely indecipherable for a modern speaker?
That may alter with our level of record keeping and sort of, we have much more access to our history than previously.
But, even 30 years ago, no one would have known what lol meant.
Well, seriously, anybody using... I hate lol because that's a vocalization to express a text shorthand for an unheard vocalization. It is just so annoying to me. It is one of those signs of, you were born in the year 2000, I hope your parents die.
Well, I think the word lol does have a purpose.
It's a text. It's a vocalization of a text reference of a sound that you could just make. It is so many ways removed from it.
David...
It's like rather than going left, you take 3 rights.
David Mitchell did one of his online rants about lol, and he was saying that in written text it makes sense because there's nothing else that really does the same job as lol.
No, written that's fine.
And if you type something like ha 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 or that was amusing, then it just sounds insincere. Now.
You opened the door.
So by walking in slightly the wrong way through the door, I triggered the monk security system again.
I love the way they zone in on you. It's just fun to watch.
Fortunately, they forget all about you. The moment
kind
you're
of
out
weird
the door.
brown Daleks just hovering at you. But no, that's my point. It's like lol written. That's its purpose. Someone going lol says I want to punch you in the face.
Now, we're collecting this cup because the Father Superior we ran into in the room to the right has told us to go and fetch a cup of something called chickapog. Now, I don't really know what that is.
It's 2031's most popular breakfast cereal.
We don't really know what chickapog is, so we're just going to get a cup and fill it with wine from the cellar that we glimpsed earlier in the second door. The monks were all very diligent about slamming the doors shut when they walked past them.
Well, if there's one thing they hate, it's spies and, letting drafts in.
What asshole left this open? Were you born in a barn?
Who forgets to turn the candles out when they leave the room? These things aren't infinite, I have to buy these.
Remember the last Let's Play we were talking about how in text-driven games you actually had to think of the action, the specific action you had to do?
Hugo was really strict about that too.
And now we have the all-purpose verb operate, which is for everything. In this case, banging on barrels to see if they're full.
I think there's a few, I think Indiana Jones and Fate of Atlantis has a lot of verbs. It's like you got push and pull, but the puzzle solving in that kind of lends itself to it.
Yeah, Monkey Island 1 had crazy amounts of verbs.
Yeah.
They had open and close were separate verbs. Push and pull were separate verbs.
Which, again, I think it's fair when you've got that volume of stuff to do, but so many games will have push that you just never use it.
Then it was games like this.
This is wine, not chickapog.
Then it was games like, say, Discworld 2 that was left click to use, right click to look. Yeah, monks can't really stomach the wine they brew themselves.
This is to get the heathen outsiders drunk. I can't. Operate Father Superior.
Oh yeah, I remembered you had to examine him to search his corpse.
Ooh, an infrared remote control device. I've heard of those, Yahtzee. They're going to control our awesome colour televisions in the future of 1991.
Something awfully suspicious about these monks.
Yeah.
Why did they have... That's a reference to a previous game Delphine made that nobody knows or cares about. So the reference was kind of lost.
Poor Delphi.
Well, they got quids in 2 years after this. Do you know Flashback for a while held the Guinness World Record for best-selling French game?
Huh.
Which,
I'm trying to think of another French game that isn't undone by Delphi.
there aren't many, no.
It's like me winning an award for best Gabriel Morton.
Little Big Adventure was French.
Huh.
If you ever played that.
No, I haven't yet. I've heard about it.
So now we have the electronic control device, and we have unveiled the secret of the monks. That they are secretly modern technology things. Oh, shit. We operated the wrong bit of wall.
So if you try and operate the wall, they go, infidel.
Nah, do we just accidentally walked a step to the left? Now, tell me this doesn't make sense. Oh, we found a secret passage in a barrel.
Perfectly logical. I was surprised he didn't do that straight away.
You found her. You found her. You are the hero of the tales.
Yeah.
You have saved the princess. And again, we're reusing a backdrop because we're fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Now, there's another case of a small item that if we didn't take if we didn't take it, we'd be fucked over some time from now.
I don't think extreme's the right adjective for beautiful, you know? Like,
yeah, it's like saying excruciatingly beautiful. That just doesn't sound right.
Your beauty hurts me. That sounds... I already know that someone's used that in a poem.
Your beauty hurts me.
Yeah. You're excruciatingly beautiful. It hurts like the little razor cuts I put on myself at night.
Crawling in my skin. Okay, now, in the same way I interpret the main character as being a Down syndrome victim, I interpret this female character as being some kind of robot. Because if you look at her dialogue,
that's her tits jabbing out
that is
like
indeed my father's medallion, so I can trust you.
Begun phase 2.
This will.
Those are her tits. That's hilarious.
This will be a recurring thing. She has literally no personality besides advancing the plot.
So she's Phi from 1989.
I don't even know.
That's a little robot sword from Skyward Sword.
Oh right.
That they pretended was was going to have a character at the beginning and then gave up on.
Yeah, I always pronounced that as Fee. Because I assumed it was short for Fiona or something.
Yeah.
Now that old man spent that entire time walking in circles waiting for our return.
I do that.
And who the hell enlists random strangers who showed up with your daughter's lost property to then be the awesome hero to rescue her?
I mean, your first thought would be, you kidnapped my fucking daughter.
How much do you want? What?
Yeah, I'll kill you. Tell me where she is. That's probably the first thing I'd do. It's like, hey, you've got my daughter's pendant. I'm going to murder you until you tell me where she is.
But even if you didn't, you'd assume it was just some peasant showed up with the medallion, and then you'd enlist your best knight to go and find her or something.
Okay, knight, take the medallion from this simple human being and go solve the problem.
But then there doesn't seem to be anyone else in this castle. And there may be a reason for that, as we will now learn.
Oh, so that's an actual thing that will be discovered.
This is a lengthy plot advancement section.
Sweet.
Yes! Old man and daughter are not the real original old man and daughter. They are visitors from the future, taking their place.
This is turning into a Doctor Who episode. One of the lazy Tom Baker
For
ones.
your era! I'm just quoting that little box there in the way I presume it was supposed to be pronounced.
Triangle! Agents of Triangle.
Oh, here's another recurring joke we'll be hearing a lot.
Oh, he's gonna...
The evil aliens are called Krugons, but everyone calls them Croutons because it's a French game. Let's all laugh like Frenchmen.
This is...
You know what gets me is that, whatever his name is and his daughter have obviously been, somehow science fictionally made up to look like the originals, but they will look like that for the rest of the game. So was it just coincidence these people happen to look exactly the same? Or did they just not drop the disguise at any point because they figure you might be startled?
Well, maybe it suits them. Maybe you go back in time and quantum leap your way into another body and you're like,
that's what everyone does in the future. They just like to mix up their appearance every now and again.
Every time you black out, it's someone from the future just having, piloting you around.
If you're not reading this dialogue, basically they're saying aliens have insidious plans. They've gone back in time to mess up human history.
Psychohypnotic.
They're at war with them in the future. The aliens have gone back in time to mess up in the past. It's the Terminator plot.
Exactly Terminator, but with retards.
And you are also out of place in the past, so they're going to take you back to the future to figure out what's to be done with you.
Rock and roll.
You can take your monk's habit. You can take your hood down now, mate. You're not Anakin fucking Skywalker.
Ruiner of things.
I was thinking about speeding up this video by maybe a factor of 2, because everyone walks in the most stupidly slow speed.
Again, I think that's misrepresenting the game as being better than it is.
Fair enough. That's a hat. That's a hat. We're wearing a hat before you say anything.
Okay, I won't say anything about the hat.
Although, to be honest, I'm slightly more worried about what's going on around his crotch area.
Yeah.
That is even for that resolution, that is a ridiculously well-defined crotch.
Look at it! Look at it!
So now we're in the alien war-torn future from which our new friends originated. But,
Looks pretty war-torn.
But we've accidentally been teleported to different locations.
Your time helmet must have been slightly off.
Your magic tinfoil hat you got there.
I haven't calibrated it because there was pizza cheese on it somewhere.
Now, I knew for a fact that some of this random rubble is like an item you have to take, and if you don't, you fuck up and can't continue after a while.
Fantastic.
Yep. The thing about this adventure game is it's a very linear one. It's not like Monkey Island where you go around the same island for the first half of the game. You just go from location to location to location. That's like 3 or 4 rooms apiece.
Not inherently a bad thing, I'd say.
I guess not. But it is if there's no way to go back to a room that contains a vital object.
That's a huge issue, yeah. Letting you...
We found a
miss
blowtorch.
Stuff like that. Awesome.
Yes.
And you can jam it into people and turn it on.
It's a future blowtorch. Now we
Uses
can
ice somehow.
Now we can weld stuff in the future, and that's a good thing because there's a lot of shit that looks like it needs a bit of welding by the looks of it.
Yeah, that helmet makes me look like a dildo.
Yeah, and look, he's got a magnificently shapely butt as well.
You can tell this game's French. All the groin and ass definition.
You can see the crack. That jumpsuit probably goes right up.
It's like a still suit. It burrows up inside to process all your waste.
It must be clinging like a Zentai suit or something.
I think it burrows up there.
And another item that we have to take or will fail later on, but it's
like a million tiny little fingers worming their way inside you.
Please don't talk about such things in that tone of voice.
Manhole!
Yep, this is where we need to go. We're not going to advance through the ruins or anything. We'll find an entrance to the sewer and just think, that's the path for me!
Hells yeah. Are there sewer mutants?
Funny you should say that.
There aren't?
Well, actually there are.
Oh.
But we won't see them until we've walked a completely linear path for about 6 or 7 rooms.
Are there any items in the rooms?
There is one.
Yeah. Well, at least I thought enough to do that.
Yep. But if you forgot something, like say the item you need to solve the puzzle, like soon enough, then you have to walk all the way back to the manhole and to the ruined landscape to go pick it up. And you have to fill the blowtorch up with gas at this tab. That was a tap, by the way. That Lego brick in the background there.
I didn't even think that was gas. I thought tap. Oh yeah, that's where water comes from.
It's quite paradoxical the way some backgrounds are really elaborate and amazing, and other times they just copy paste 3 bits of wall to make a sewer.
I mean, I'd put more effort into the items you have to actually do stuff with.
Although, in all fairness, Eric Chahi apparently was the only artist on this game.
Fair enough, then.
Another case of 3 dudes and an usually large marketing department.
Eric Chahi's sitting alone with pixels, just assembling them lovingly.
Oh, things are hotting up. There's the mutant you wanted so much.
Ah!
Yeah, you can leave and go all the way back to the wasteland.
And nothing happens.
And you can come straight back and everything's exactly the same. So it's almost like the mutant is just trying to do a little jazz hands routine for the girl and then completely misinterpreting it.
What do you girls think? I'm going to be doing it at the Rockestead later, and
Rest assured, if you had walked closer, he would have killed you instantly.
The muta octopus smelled our scent.
Yeah, there's that
That's
joke
getting
again.
really...
That's the second time. Do you know where we are and how to find a way out?
Paris 4.
Paris the 4th, yeah, not happening in France. And if you interpret this dialogue in the poem the way it's supposed to be interpreted, these people have just manifested a ladder through their mental powers.
Are you what?
That they have in the future.
This does feel like several children's BBC shows from this area, you know what I mean? Like it's like a combination between Tripods and Chucky and...
Like the Tomorrow People.
Yeah, and the Tomorrow People. I loved the Tomorrow People when I was a little kid. I used to be on at 6 in the morning.
Hey, we're still carrying that lance from medieval times. I hope that lance was not going to be used at some point to, like, change history.
Yeah, that was an important lance, dude. You don't just go around taking lances from the past. Didn't you see The Butterfly Effect, that horrible movie?
And we're now in a subway station full of boring text.
Martial law.
Yep. This subway station kind of reminds me of the subway from Flashback.
Yeah. That was a good game.
It certainly was.
This isn't.
No. Well, Delphine Software made...
Oh, wow, you found €1.
They made 3 point-and-click adventure games with this interface. This was, I think, the first. The other two were called Operation Stealth, also known as James Bond: The Stealth Affair in America. And the other one was called Cruise for a Corpse.
I want to play that.
I have played Operation Stealth. I haven't played Cruise for a Corpse.
Cruise for a Corpse.
Now, this is obnoxious. You have to take the coin out of the coin slot twice and put it in the slot before you'll get the newspaper. And if you don't have the newspaper, guess what? You'll end up in a situation later on that you can't escape from.
That's...
Now there's nothing to do
Not
now.
engendering a lot of positive thoughts here, Delphine.
There's nothing to do now but wait for the train. So let's...
I thought it was...
practice walking, because we're going to need a fucking lot of practice.
So that's a platform, like that wall behind you is actually...
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
God, I didn't even
see?
notice that. Jeez.
Now that's what I call a tilt train. Boom, boom.
It's tilted the wrong way. That's not how aerodynamics works.
Yeah, that train's just going to like fall forwards.
I'm just gonna make it dead flat and grind against the wind.
That train's had a few drinks. I'm alright,
I'm good.
Come on, get on board. I've only got 2 cars for some reason.
I'll take you home.
Well, it's the dystopian future.
Off to dystopian suburbia.
Now we're at the airport.
Oh, floating arrows, that's exactly.
This one room is the airport. This is the entire airport. And, you know, props to Eric Chahi for all his career, but look at the character art of the guy on the right. It's you! They copy-paste your... And you may not remember, but the 3 guys who got killed by the aliens in the intro sequence, they were you as well.
Yeah. Just take the helmet off, please.
They made 1 walk cycle. Now, what we're trying to do here is sneak past airport security. And the way to do that in the future, in a time of war, I would remind you, is distract the 2 minimum wage employees who are guarding the door.
I'd imagine that works somewhat like Idiocracy. You just go, there's a bunch of naked bitches in the hall, and they run away.
Yeah. So replacing the defective fuse in that fuse box...
I don't know, that's the way of fucking things up.
Turns the TV on, and apparently the reception's so bad that the guy guarding the door had to walk all the way up to it to watch it.
That's great.
So you still can't actually walk up the stairs until the receptionist starts doing her makeup.
Oh, the music's nice.
They don't ask for your boarding pass, just walk right in. And now we're going to Paris 4.
Awesome.
It took them 4 tries to get it right.
You should have seen Paris 3, man. That place was a dump.
You know, if I was flying some kind of future plane, I'd want to know there wasn't a massive jagged hole in the fuselage.
Paris 4 from Britain 3.
Apparently he's got vertical takeoff, though. It's the future!
Again, it's flying in like the wrong direction for the front like that.
How do you know? It's a future plane.
Maybe it's a Concorde.
It's got a different design. You'll notice all the passengers are facing the right direction, sitting next to their windows that all look like the Macromedia Flash logo.
God, yeah, that really is a Macromedia Flash logo.
I know, right? I only picked up on that while I was recording this. I played through this game I don't know how many times.
Reminds me of playing crappy Flash games in the early 2000s.
Well, even those had like a better resolution than this, at least. Oh no! Now watch how this guy behind you reacts to this.
If he reacts at all, I'll
flings himself out the door. I must have missed that part of this.
Parachute.
I must have missed that part of the safety announcement at the start. At the first sign of danger, scream at the top of your voice and fling yourself out the nearest window.
The Krugons, that is just really, that is awful. That is an awful science fiction name.
You know, we talked over it, but the text basically said they didn't even knock you out, you just fainted as soon as they showed up. They just went, oh no!
It looked kind of like a Sato car from Lynch's Dune film.
I had to think after you passed out, the Krugons with the guns just sort of looked at each other, slightly baffled.
Did he just... Is it... Huh, that's interesting. Didn't even have to shoot him with a sleep ray.
Hey, we've had another use for that key to the typewriter cupboard from the start of the game. You can open this ventilation shaft with it.
There's a moment in the new...
Here's what that gas capsule from the medieval laboratory was for, by the way. Oh no, a greenish gas escaping from it, so we immediately suffocate and die.
Good freaking God.
Yes. And that's
That was exactly a death from Hugo. Just something happened.
Yes.
Something happened. We're not going to show you.
Well, the reason why you died is because you forgot to block the air vent.
Oh, okay.
Which
With the newspaper?
Yes, with the newspaper we picked up and could have easily not picked up.
Yeah. And finding yourself... Because, again, you wouldn't know if you were doing something wrong or if you'd just blocked yourself like that. I mean, it's a horrible way of working out.
Pretty much. Yay, all the Krugons are having nappy time, so no one's piloting this, so bollocks.
Given that I watch a lot of Community, all I can hear now is Blorgons every time Krugons comes up. Krugon, that's so terrible.
I like to think you pronounce it the Dutch way. Krugon.
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 Andros.
We called you croutons. Isn't that a Star Fox reference?
Yes.
Although
a decade or so
years
before
Star Fox.
Actually, yes, I forgot Star Fox was on the NES. So probably only about 5 or 6 years.
So now the human forces have intercepted...
That's not bad.
The human forces have intercepted the Krugon ship.
That's some pretty damn tasty graphics there. Look at that.
Well, it's 2 moving objects.
I know. That's amazing. It's 89, man. You take what you can get.
It's not much in the way of animation. Unfortunately, everyone has assumed, just to give the gist of this scene, they've assumed you're a Krugon spy because there's no DNA records of you.
Shut up, Crouton. Oh, God.
Yes. I presume the Krugons have the ability to assume human form because they were disguised as monks in the olden days.
Oh, so the monks were Krugons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can you tell?
I don't know.
Where they kept talking about scorzums and chickenpox.
Give me my chickenpox, please.
Oh, now they're going to shoot
Guilty.
you.
Gods!
Oh, I'm really getting lazy with the copy-pasting now, aren't we, Eric? That guy on the right, that's the only non-you sprite in the game.
I'm innocent. Take aim and goodbye, cruel world.
What is it? Oh, it's our girlfriend.
Lowen of the giant tits. I mean, I know you have to put something on her to make her look female, but by God, when she's look fucking horizontal to the screen, it's just ridiculous.
That's a nice hourglass figure she's got there. And hair blowing in the wind, apparently frozen in the act of.
Kind of the underwire bra is just 45-degree angle that just points her nipples skyward constantly. Look at it, when she turns, look at it. It's ridiculous.
Well, she doesn't turn, that's the weird thing. She appears to be staring at a wall while this hearing's going on. Mm-hmm. Blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. This is another lengthy plot sequence. Basically, the Krugons have planted a bomb in, the Cretaceous period. And
there's a bomb on the planet. If it slows... It stops rotating.
And your job will be to go back in time and stop them from...
This is exactly what Romero ripped off for Daikatana.
See, in the future, they rely on random retarded yahoos from the present-day window cleaning industry to do all their world-saving business.
Yeah, it's a little-known fact. The people from the future started the window cleaning industry just to train up amazing heroes. It's kind of like...
Yeah, all the skills are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Squirting Windoline onto a pane is exactly like pulling the trigger on a laser gun.
Exactly. It's like The Last Starfighter. That was a documentary about the window.
I'll go with her!
I just thought of something horrible, and I'm regretting even thinking it. Just reshooting famous film scenes with people with Down syndrome doing it instead.
You mean just casting Keanu Reeves?
He's a brick.
He's a cardboard cutout.
Well, the thing is, I bet he's tired because he appears to be some kind of immortal.
Yeah, I've heard that theory.
It's one of my favorite dumb internet theories because it's just not plausible, but the people they dig up that look like him from the past actually look like him.
Now our character's being implanted with knowledge from the future.
Oh, just like that awesome movie Battlefield Earth.
We don't get to reap the benefit of his new knowledge. He does. We just have to take his word for it.
Wait, how did the helmet raise and then pop back on him?
Oh, that was some kind of automated thing.
Yeah. Wait, citizen, you can't leave without your retarded helmet. You might fall down.
Yes, that's the only thing keeping his brain from dropping into a little hole in the middle of his skull. So now we're in the Cretaceous period.
Can't wait for dinosaur puzzles. Can they get this damn teleporter to work?
No, it's about as reliable as the sonic screwdriver at this point. There's a reference you'll appreciate.
My butt.
I was making reference to the fine definition of his buttocks in that jumpsuit.
Ass.
Hey,
Look at
Gabe.
my butt. You can use it to chisel.
Hey, Gabe, what's your favourite aspect of 90s adventure games?
Trying to navigate, like, where you can't see.
What's your second favourite?
I don't know.
Was it going to be mandatory out-of-place arcade sequences?
Oh, really? Sweet.
Yes, we're being given a compressed air gun, which is apparently some future thing.
Compressed air? Amazing!
And now follow her with some difficulty because my pointy machine isn't quite perfect. And there's a lot of stuff in the foreground that prevents
Yeah, I
us
forgot
seeing
about
what the
these, because
path
Space
is.
Quest always had some horrible you gotta fly something around thing.
Yeah, well, in later games they gave you the option to skip it.
Yes, they were good for that.
Or in Leisure Suit Larry, where you had to gamble to get money, and there was no other way.
Annoyed the shit out of me.
You had to keep reloading. Here we go, arcade sequence. The instruction is click on them with the mouse.
A strange idea. Wow, that's just terrible.
A strange
Click,
idea.
mouse.
And now we're dead because we didn't shoot that danger man in the 10th of a second. Now this sequence went on way too long. I basically had to like save every time there was like a quiet moment. Curious bit of like detail is that they like animate his arm for every angle you point the mouse cursor to.
I wish that air rifles actually sounded like that. That'd be badass.
Now, here's something unfair. How come whenever I got shot by the enemies, my body instantly dissolved into sparkly bits? She gets shot and it just does her shoulder. That's not fair. Maybe that one Krugon who shot her was the one everyone else played tricks on. He was armed with like a BB gun or something.
Yeah, you get the safety gun until you learn.
So I was trying to remember what you have to do to her at this point, but
The lance.
you actually have to examine her 3 times. Just examine her once. It just says, "Oh, I'd better like help her get back to the future," and then you have to examine her again to like search her sexy corpse.
Gonna cop a slight feel by accident with the back of the hand, so it doesn't look creepy.
And if you examine her again after that, there's just no text box at all because the programming is shit.
You just want to savor that nipple.
So you use the pendant to... Now, this is a dumb thing that's to be introduced so late in the game, is that now that we've got an AI inside our head that talks to us in a cheerful comic relief voice.
Trying to read this. I'm gonna just guess it was because it's all translated from French. Maybe it sounded amazing in French.
Yeah, I guess it will be Albert the second then.
Albert the Second. It's kind of like a precursor to Blake 7.
Wasn't enough to show us walking down the path. It's going to show our tiny... You're going to see our tiny character walking with infinite slowness across the plane as well.
No rush.
It's not like a huge bomb's about to explode and destroy all human life.
I'm surprised they didn't do the Earth shock twist and have it be the thing that wiped the dinosaurs out.
Well, that's the thing with time travel, isn't it? I mean, technically there shouldn't be any urgency, should there?
Predestination paradoxes.
We could just try again if we fail. Yeah. Just teleport to slightly earlier.
Just clusters of you running around trying to unfuck what you did last.
Now, here was the one Krugon with the BB gun.
Senior officer.
Yeah, he was probably like just fresh from officer school, and all the veteran privates played their little prank.
I've done all my training on a simulator. I got the highest score.
I was trained by video games.
It's practically the same. Shooting a gun and clicking a mouse are the same thing.
So the plan now is to hijack this ship to fly it to the Krugon mothership to sort them out good and proper in some way that we haven't quite figured out yet.
Fly the ship straight into them, cause fuck it.
Now I remember at this point that I needed to take those the trousers in the box, but I couldn't figure out how to get them, and I became obsessed momentarily with extracting trousers from the box.
Well, you know, there's nothing more annoying than trousers being held just out of reach.
Oh my god, the box won't open. Why can't I take those trousers?
Yeah.
I need replacement trousers for these ones. They show off my cog too much.
It's like me at Subway just batting my hand on the glass going, give me sandwich.
That is also why there are finger marks all over my laptop screen.
You're trying to desperately physically grab the pants.
Trying to grab the things I want.
Be interesting if there was some kind of meta puzzle on that level.
Yes. Apparently, the magnetic card we also took off that dead prank victim also turns on the electronics, so we can open the box and grab the trousers.
Cards that do everything.
There's not a lot to say at this point, because we're actually quite near the end of the game.
Really?
Yeah, we're approaching the... I couldn't fit the whole trousers in there.
I want those trews.
Yeah, we're getting... That's what we used to say in Scotland.
Really?
Yeah, they say trews instead of trousers.
Scotland's weird and wrong.
Now I can take those trousers.
Awesome.
So what you have to do is put the trousers on this camera. Now, why do you think we have to do that? Or more to the point, how do you think we would figure out that we had to do that?
I don't know. I'd have put my retard helmet over it.
We'd figure it out because we get to the Krugon mothership and there are a bunch of armed Krugons waiting for us because they saw who was in the cockpit.
So when they check the security camera and it's clearly covered by something, they'll just relax and let you run on it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Probably someone just gobbed on the lens.
It's happened again. Oh well.
And I don't know how this ship works, but apparently getting inside the suspended animation box just automatically activates the homing program to go straight back to the mothership.
Well, flying these ships is probably, beyond human manual piloting skill. It is, you have a nap and let the artificial intelligence do the hard work.
I'm glad earlier you expressed enjoyment for that sequence where the ship landed in the airport, because
That was impressive.
It's quite a lengthy ship movement sequence we're going to have to sit through now.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, that's not a bad Earth. Probably drawn from reference, but still.
Awesome synth music.
I'm thinking this must have been 3D modelled and then pre-rendered as a sprite, because it's too well animated. The little moving ship in the middle. I guess we're travelling through time again? I'm not entirely clear on this.
I'm busting some Doctor Who up in this shit.
I don't know if the Krugon mothership is actually also in Cretaceous times, or if it's in the future.
The one piece of the story they didn't want to laboriously explain.
Now our cursor is red. Our cursor was taken on a jaunty red shade because the palette couldn't spare the white.
At least they figured that out. Most games would have just not even thought about it, going, no, fuck, it doesn't matter if you can't see it.
It wasn't quite enough to show the ship going into the hangar. We have to see it going into the hangar from this perspective as well.
Oh, I hope there's one from the front.
It's a very boxy hangar.
Maybe it's like a Borg cube, it's just an efficiency. They don't need to be fancy. It's Krugons,
well, in that case, why would they go all the way back to medieval times, dress up as monks, and do some build a robot wolf to guard the door?
Yeah, what was that for? If they're setting the bomb in Cretaceous period, why?
I'm not entirely clear.
Why not just go back to pre-life and just piss in the fucking pool or something?
I don't even know. I think there was another bomb. Yeah, if you wait around too long in here, they will come in and kill you. If we hadn't put the garment over the thing, this room would at this point be full of Krugon soldiers. So what we have to do, when we searched our robot girlfriend, we found an invisibility pill. It's not contrived or anything. Now they're talking that language from Final Fantasy X, I think.
Looks like phonetic Klingon.
So if you try to go to that door, the pill wears off and you get killed. So what you're actually supposed to do is walk over here to this nice box.
Operate.
And play house games in the big box. I'm the master of the house.
Nobody find me.
Hey.
That's exactly what you did with the Downer kid too. You played hide and seek with him and never found him.
And Albert's gabbing off about shit that doesn't matter. So apparently the Earth fleet are setting up a diversionary attack that can hold out for 6 minutes, and you got 6 minutes to reprogram the mothership. You got to find the computer room and escape within 6 minutes.
Reprogram a vast AI? Easy.
Remember what I was saying earlier about mandatory arcade sections?
Oh, another one.
Another one to round out the game.
That's like 3 games for the price of one. You're just being greedy.
This is the climax. It's a maze. It's a fucking maze.
Oh,
no maps.
That's...
No maps. You just have to guess your way to the computer room in less than 3 minutes, because you got to get back after you've escaped from the computer room as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, when I first had this game, this is the point where I just said, you know what, fuck you, game. I don't even care how this game ends anymore. I only actually saw the ending years later when I got a game fax and played it on an emulator.
That was like me and Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Yes. And the clicking...
See, I'd have thought these bars you wouldn't be able to walk through. I'm seeing these things as doors and shit.
I know. And the clicking positional... The only things you can't walk through are like the cracks in the floor. And the clicking positional problem is still a problem, even though time is of the essence.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's like wrapping your hands in bandages and then telling you to type. Here's some boxing gloves. Perform surgery. Tick, tick.
But you know what? Perhaps this is a hint. Perhaps this is a hint to what the sort of games Delphine would rather have been making. Then went on to do so.
Yeah, actually, now that I think of it, this is reeking of Another World when you're trying to escape.
Yes.
Where's my big Mongo friend? He was nice.
He was fun.
I'd like to think that he was like some actual horrible criminal from that world, like he was a serial child rapist, and here you are helping him escape.
Well, he helped you.
Yeah, but he also rapes children.
Then he carried you away on a pterodactyl at the end, presumably to eat your corpse.
Off to another kindergarten.
But anyway, as excruciatingly dull as this sequence is, let's not get bogged down on games other than this. Okay, he walked past the ladder because, as we've established, he's a tard.
You clicked one frame to the right.
It said the computer room's on the bottom level, but now we have to go up because it's a really circuitous fucking route.
Okay, I'm guessing up and then you start down after you get over this crack.
Yep. It's like going over a little mountain.
Oh god, this would have been annoying without an FAQ.
You know, if I were him, I'd have taken that hat off. I think you're right. Well, unless it's the only reason he's not a retard anymore.
Yeah. Maybe if it's a, brainatronian hat, it repairs damaged neurons from too many chromosomes.
I like to think he's just constantly gently massaging his temples.
God, I could use one of those hats, actually. Maybe like a thing for my back like that. Like one of those Sega integrator things where it jiggled, you accept better jiggling. Still,
fans of our main character's shapely butt are certainly getting a run for their money.
I am going to be hitting DeviantArt after this and putting up as much nice cheek shots that I can muster. I mean, look at that. Look at that.
Look at that. What do you think this guy's name was?
Cheeks Thrustington.
Cheeks Thrustington. I like to think his name actually was Hero. It's just a coincidence that when you mention it says that.
It was French. Hedor. Something like that. I don't know.
So here's the final brain-busting actual puzzle of the game. Go to computer, stick a magnetic card in it.
Really?
Yep. That's like the same puzzle we've had like 4 times at this point.
Yeah, this is getting like a Dreamweb in the gun.
Yes. Although much less spectacular results.
Drebo arc.
Albert, help me! And now we're introducing another AI. This late in the fucking game.
Yeah, this is turning into the last season of Oz, where it's just like, hey, we have all this plot to finish up. Fuck it, add more characters.
Yeah, they just added this other bloke in your head called Aristotle who's going to sort shit out. They couldn't have just had Albert do it.
Yeah, they had to fucking add another AI. Why couldn't you do it, Albert? Well, I was busy making Aristotle to do it.
What do you mean make Albert do it? That wouldn't make the slightest bit of sense in this extremely tight canon we've come up with.
Yeah, you don't understand French storytelling, sir.
Fortunately for us, I cut out the run back to the exit.
I kind of wanted to watch that. More butt cheeks, man. And some groin edge. You gotta do front and back for both types of people.
A minute to spare, and I had a walkthrough. Imagine not having a walkthrough. Imagine having like 1 minute's buffer to explore and go to dead ends.
Fuck that.
Exactly.
I'm presuming this had... Did you have to save, or could you save state it?
You could save on the way, but you had a fixed 6 minutes, so if you went to a dead end...
Yeah, then you'd save, you'd lock yourself in.
Might not have been smart.
Oh, that's even more fun.
In fact, I seem to recall doing that the first time I had the game. I found the computer room,
and then couldn't get back.
And then I saved, but then I had like a minute to escape.
That is exactly the kind of thing that would make me throw a tantrum and cry when I was like 8.
The doctors cured me as soon as I got back. Robot lady's back to life. And her dad has apparently saved the day.
Doctors cured me, vagina functional, impregnate.
Apparently the bomb from 65 million years ago exploded harmlessly. To humans, that is. But not to everyone.
It did Earthshock.
When you mentioned that, I was like, what the hell, in my head. And I think this will be the last case of actually good background for once.
It is a good background.
It is.
I'd like a watercolor of that in my house.
Although I kind of thinking those dinosaurs look a little bit small considering the environment. Not that it matters, because they're all dust. The end of the reign of the dinosaurs. And he's going to come on and take his final bow. I'm glad that he's going to come and address the audience directly, because I've grown so fond of this extremely dynamic character over the time we've had with him.
I've already got 3 fanfiction stories going with him and Robot Girl.
Are they all erotic?
Yes. Look at the groin. It's like a black hole from which light and my attention cannot escape.
He wouldn't even need to take that garment off to conceive his first child.
Fuck no, you just look at it. Suddenly my brain's pregnant with little worms of amazing future children.
That's how it works in the future. You put on the jumpsuit, and then she puts on the jumpsuit, and then she's pregnant.
It eliminated the fun of sex. Just
goodbye. Hope to see you again soon.
We'll never see you again, Helmet. That's his name now. I'm calling him Helmet.
And there's their future wedding.
And you got elected Prince of the Future somehow.
And when you're elected Prince of the Future, you are electronically made 12 times the size of a normal human being.
I would be shit scared of that. Why are there no railings in the future? I don't want to... I had to walk up a staircase that was 2 meters high that didn't have a railing the other day, and it made me paranoid.
There's invisible future railings.
Yeah,
railings that have taken their invisibility pills. Yeah, graphics, one guy.
Go Eric Chahi, you fucking machine.
There were more guys working on sound than graphics.
Well, to be fair, it's, they got some half-decent little tunes blaring away in the background there. It was better than Hugo and its 7 noises.
Well, the sound was much better on the Amiga version. This was the PC with, like, ad-lib and MIDI. It had actual digitized, like, wave sound effects on the Amiga.
God, I remember that when the Amiga was actually the better platform.
What crazy days they were. Now, how do you pronounce that name, do you think? I like to think it's Sport Ouch.
That's great.
Like, the guy was describing his favourite school subject and then something beamed him on the side of the head.
See, I'm thinking more Sportouch.
Well, he's French, so it might be Sportouche.
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 Michael Sportouche. Peter Stone. Back when games were made by like a dozen people.
Yep.
I suppose that still happens, Gabriel. They're called indie games, and you're a retard for saying what you just said.
Yes, you are. In fact, it is a new golden age for the hobbyist designer with the iPad and Steam.
That it is, and a million votes of support toward those guys for bringing back, auteur gaming.
I didn't notice for a minute or so that this was just the same credits as before. Repeated.
Yeah, it's just... so that's all it does, is just
and made the most decisive move of my life.
Quit.
Now then, we've got one last thing to discuss.
Oh, cool, what?
And because I want to show you the box art for this game.
I'm looking forward to this.
No, because the European box art was what made me pick up the game. That's why in a computer game shop...
I was going to say, what made you choose this over Monkey Island?
A computer game shop with nothing to go on, but...
I do forget those days.
But the 2 box arts, this was the one I went for. And tell me that's not a great box art. Because...
Yeah, holy crap, that's actually quite cool.
It's simple. It shows our origin, our humble origins, but the stars within the paint sort of imply that by this one small movement, a chain of events will lead to the salvation of the future.
He's wearing pumps and what I think look like pajama pants.
Although what he's doing with paints when he's a window cleaner, I do not know.
Looks like he's just gone to work high. That's exactly me. I'll just throw on my pumps, I'll go to school in my pajamas, and just come down in economics. That'll be fine. I
like to think this was part of a pre-story that our retard friend started washing the window with paint, and that's why his boss was so mad at him that day. That's how I'll lead into my fan fiction. All my fan fiction won't have anything to do with the future wars or the time travelers. It'll all just be this dude's life before. Oh, this was much more interesting. This wasn't the box art everywhere. Oh, good. This was the European box art. Yeah. Would you like to see the American box art? Yes, I would. Oh, that's awesome. What the fuck is that? I want that as a shirt. Look at the octopus. I know, look at his little face. He's angry. And they've given the woman a face that conveys that she might have emotions to express. Also tits. Yeah, and they've got the future wolf. Look at the fucking all the little aspects and floaty decals around the character. It looks like stickers on the side of somebody's pencil case. I love that everyone in the future looks like a, YMCA karate teacher. Why is American box art all so shit?
Because their horrible market is amused by really basic things that can't appreciate or understand any level of subtlety.
Suppose you're right. Did you see the Heavy Rain box art internationally?
Can't remember it offhand.
Like, our box art was kind of cool. It was just an origami figurine of the rain.
That's
But in the American box art, they added to that a montage of all the characters standing around. And front and centre was the main female character standing around in her pants.
Yeah, of course. Well, my favourite, like, Rest of the World to America translation was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone got changed to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Which isn't even a thing!
I know. And because the word, I don't know, because philosopher, who wants to do a bunch of thinking and crap. I know, that's also Five Gum had for X-Men First Class, had a special fucking accompanying gum for the movie X-Men First Class called Evolution. And it was changed to, like, Extreme in America because God help you if you label something with evolution in that country.
Hey, Americans, why are you all such tits?
I know, I love you, but your country is collapsing and I'm going to stand over in Australia and watch.
So what have we learned from today's little odyssey? Well, obviously to throw water balloons at wolves at the earliest opportunity.
Yeah, I don't see any possible negative side effects. So anyone living in a country that has feral wolves or just wild wolves, feral wolves would imply that they were domestic, I suppose.
Well, wolves have been known to befriend people, so maybe, that's a good way to break the ice with wolves. Just
maybe
a little,
lob a water balloon at it and then leave your baby there and the wolf will just raise it.
little playful water balloon fight to establish your friendliness to the tribe. And then the pack will lead you to the place where they live, and they've already got a slip and slide set up for everyone to play on.
I'd fill the water balloon with pee. But then I think they'll probably declare war with the wolf people.
I think they would probably interpret that as marking territory. That's probably going to be a social faux pas.
You're mine now.
A social faux pas in those fragile early days of the wolf pack. Among the wolf pack.
And then you get raised by wolves, and then your son comes back to you and you can teach it the ways of humanity, and then it becomes a superhero.
So any thoughts for your next game?
I'm mulling over a few. I'm trying to get to something that I think you mightn't have played.
That's maybe a tall order, considering we're the same age.
Yeah, and have similar tastes.
And also, I'm a video game journalist.
Yeah, and I've played the same. Don't say video game journalist.
Why you got such a narc on for that term?
Well, it's like gamer culture. It's just one of these things that infuriates me every time I hear it. Like, video game journalism is entertainment journalism's retarded cousin, and entertainment journalism is already the retarded cousin of actual journalism.
All right, then.
Like critics. You're a critic? I'd say is a more valid statement that I'm a video game journalist.
I just wanted to make the point that I was a journalist and that my specialist field was video games.
You're a critic. You're a video game critic. I'd say that carries more intellectual weight than video game journalist. Any idiot with a blog is a video game journalist.
No, they're not.
Well, believe me, they think they are.
Not a professional one.
Well, now you're getting into the realms of what is and isn't a professional journalist, and that's a very grey area these days.
Yes, I'm a professional journalist.
Because
I make a living from it.
Well, again, you're more of a critic, though. I'd say you're a professional critic.
But I write for a journal.
I think we can have this argument forever.
Yes, we'll continue arguing this while you all go and talk about how American box art is actually not as shit as we've been saying.
And I can't wait to see the angry American comments on YouTube. That'll be fun.
Thanks, YouTube.
Bye.
See you next time. For now, we are some fuck goofing off from his window cleaning job. And we don't even have a name. If you mouse over the character, it just says Hero. Although we will be doing nothing particularly heroic for a long time. Yeah,
it's feeling like this. I'd like it if that opening little cinematic had nothing to do with anything. It's actually just this dull guy's day-to-day life, and the whole game's just a meta wank in your expense.
Pretty much. We have kicked over a bucket, and now we have to fill it again. This is our only heroic task at present.
Do not put insecticide in coffee. There you go, you're a hero.
Without the context of the rest of this game, we are basically at this point just some fuck ransacking his boss's house.
Well, that's part of the, rise up 99%. Take your boss's insecticide, yeah.
We're being a good little drone for now, though.
Well, good drones manage to stay fed.
There's occasional good writing in this, I will admit. But one of the interpretations I have of this game is that the main character is retarded. And I'm not saying that disingenuously. I genuinely think he has learning difficulties.
Actually, yeah.
Do you see that tiny pixel in the toilet?
Yep.
That is an item.
To be fair, it is like a glaringly red pixel.
Well, I guess. But
Little
that's,
flag. Of course, I thought it was matches. Of course, it's a little flag. That makes much more sense.
tell me you do not think I'm close enough to pick up the little flag at this point.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. This isn't even the most obnoxious example of it in the game.
Oh, that's loads of fun. That's exactly like it. Reminds me of when Delphi tried to make a fighting game and they did Shaq Fu.
So we could go back out to clean the window now, or we could just stick the bucket of water on the door that the boss comes out of.
I'm actually enjoying this so far. That's...
I want to put this in context. I had this game as a kid on the Amiga, and when I bought it, I had the choice of either buying this or The Secret of Monkey Island.
You fucked up.
I certainly did.
To be fair, though, I've done that exact same thing. When I bought my Dreamcast, I had the option of getting Ready to Rumble or Blue Stinger. Now, one of those you'll have to Google because it's so abhorrently terrible.
At this point, the character's supposed to rush out of the room, but if you click, like as we demonstrated in Hugo 2 last time, you can like fuck up that bit of programming.
And have the boss just stand there, presumably drowning in an infinite bucket of head water.
Yeah, the weird thing is the water goes into and out of the bucket as he waves his arms around.
Well, it is called Future Wars. Perhaps we're in some kind of amazing future with nano water that can just rearrange itself at will.
We're not in the future. I'll spoil that now. We're currently in the present.
Or 1989.
Did you? Yeah, 999. Did you pick up on the fact that the game's title is subtitled Time Travelers?
By a cluster of fruit flies? Good.
Well,
get out of my gene pool.
That's part of my argument for why this character has learning difficulties. Just the fact alone that he put a bucket on his boss's door as some idiot prank. You can imagine his Mr. Bean-style gummy grin as the boss pulled the bucket off his head.
And, every day it's him at a new menial job. Yeah. As, with hilarious results.
Yes, he's like the one stooge. You find a pendant! Exclamation mark.
Because finding a green pendant amidst that would just be fuck easy.
I like to think that whenever in the text box there is the words in block capitals with multiple exclamation marks after it, our character actually bellowed that at the top of his voice.
That is exactly how I will understand the rest of this game.
Yes,
I think, I'm probably being harsh on it, but for 1989, this is actually pretty sophisticated. I mean, a point-and-click interface. I mean, by Sierra, Sierra by this time was just doing shit where you had to guess and type and...
It's a pretty bad point-and-click interface.
Still,
you have to right-click to open the menu and select a verb before you do anything. And when you click to walk somewhere, you just walk there as the crow flies. There's no pathfinding. You don't walk around obstacles.
Well, I mean, again, 89, it's like when the retarded kid in the classroom that was more or less completely untended to because we didn't have special, teachers because our school was underfunded. And every now and then, he'd get really close to getting his 5 times tables right. And he got close. And that was good.
We're dead again, by the way. Because we walked into a medieval village while dressed like a present-day window cleaner.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't freak out that bad. I mean, they'd stare at you and probably go, hey, outsider, but...
Well, I guess they wanted to nip any possibility in the bud of you causing too much of a stir in medieval
With your
times.
future ideas.
Yes, because I think mentally we're probably on the same level as a lot of people around here now.
What are you going to do, hang yourself?
So rather than... Yeah, well, you could be forgiven for thinking that, but rather than walk to the left as any sane person would... We find that we just have to climb this tree and sit in it and marvel at the sky and the clouds for a few minutes.
I was pretty sure you were being facetious when you came up with the he's got some kind of, neural issue, but no,
he really
right.
does, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He's probably got, like, Bell's palsy or something. Now, when you pay attention...
It's a physical thing. I don't think there's Bell's palsy a mental thing.
I don't even know. I just picked a name out of my head.
I don't want to offend the Bell's palsy people.
Now, as luck would have it, a stranger... walked by for some skinny dipping.
So steal his clothes, yeah.
And nick his medieval outfit. Now, I hope you, remember the sprite of the guy who just dived into the water.
Because you're going to see it again?
You're going to see it again very soon. Possibly sooner than you think. Hello, it's Yahtzee Crowshaw again, and this is my friend. What's your name today?
Baron Connect 4 the Third.
Thank you. And today we're feeling in a European kind of mood. Ho-he-haw. Mm-hmm. This is an old adventure game from the sunny shores of France.
Oh, really? Oh.
Developed by Delphine Software. Are you familiar with them?
Actually, yes, and this weirds me out because I am not familiar with this game, because I'm a big fan of Delphine's work.
You're probably more familiar with
the console games of Another World.
Another World, also known as Out of This World in the United States, and Flashback, released in 91 and 92 respectively. This game was released in 89. This was before they were good. If you look down there, Eric Chahi,
yeah.
That was near enough the sole developer of Another World or Out of This World. This game
is like E.T.'s ship.
It's called Future Wars, or Les Voyageurs du Temps, as it was originally known.
I wonder what it's about.
Well, if that exciting intro got you good and ready for an adventurous space odyssey, then
that's a pretty impressive...
And you're going to be disappointed, because now we are some fuck.
Look on his face, it's going to be tough. That is, I mean, for a game in 89, this is all very impressive. I think that is really Delphine Softwares.
I think if this game has one saving grace, it's Eric Chahi's background art, which looks great.
Yeah,
The characters are all universally fucking tiny. Fortunately, to compensate for the characters all being tiny, all the items you have to pick up are very large and... Not really, this is a pixel hunt jamboree.
Well, that was how they made games hard back in the day. You had to really, I think it was a test of your examining abilities.
It was very annoying, though. Because they also zoom into things when they need to.
Oh, well, that's at least nice.
And here's another obnoxious quality of this game.
Yeah,
you have to walk up to something to use it.
I love that that's the one piece of reality they cling to, ignoring, how you can't actually just open windows like that in major skyscrapers.
No.
Ever.
No, you can't. Because the wind would blow everything out of the room immediately.
And it would be suicide.
And I'm going to keep these text boxes up for about as long as it takes me to sort of skim read. So if you for some reason want to read them, then you might want to be quick on the pause button, viewer.
One of the many people who suffer from adult illiteracy. It's not something to be ashamed of. You can get that sorted.
That whole come a little closer business, you will see how obnoxious that will become at some point in the game.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Now, we don't know anything about our protagonist. We've seen aliens coming down and killing creatures, killing people, rather. But that will not actually come back into things for some time.
And I don't sit here and nitpick over tiny mistakes, Yahtzee. See, that's...
I was a little bit rattled.
It's called being a friend.
Oh.
I accept all your failings.
What happened to you, man?
I quit drinking.
We used to hate people so much together.
Oh, hate's easy, Yahtzee. Compassion, that's where the money is.
The time scale for entering this code is... The code, incidentally...
Do you have to operate each button individually?
Yep. Incidentally, this was the code we found on the typewriter in the cupboard. So perhaps our boss is in on whatever this crazy room-crushy conspiracy is.
It would stand to reason.
And now we found a secret laboratory in this building. And I just want to point out that we still don't have anything relating to a quest.
Well, that's what I've noticed going back through Gabriel and I and a few of the other old, adventure games I've been playing again lately, just to, find something to do for myself. When they don't have a clear story goal or what you're meant to be doing, that makes the problems borderline impossible to solve.
Well, it's the same is true of non-video game storytelling. If there's no coherent reason for any of us to be doing these things... we'll be going through this again.
Come a little closer.
So we press the green button, and we can use the time machine now, but if we don't do this...
You'll fry?
Spoiler warning, this is a time machine. If we don't put this sheaf of paper in the slot and press the button and collect the documents that come out, then about an hour from now, we will be failed and cannot finish the game.
And see, that's frustrating because, again, at this point you have no idea what you're even doing. So there's been no reason to understand that you needed to do that. I find that really obnoxious puzzle design. There's no reason to suspect that that's a puzzle, so why would you do it? It's just one of these things where the game seems to be made for the kind of autistic human being that can just click on every pixel with every single thing until something occurs.
Yeah, it's stupid video game logic, because there may be a reason for the player to do it, but there's no reason why this person would be doing it. Spoiler warning, we're now in the Middle Ages.
Ooh.
Although, considering that...
This feels like a precursor to Daikatana.
Fortunately, this time machine apparently travels in space as well as time, because since we were at the top of a skyscraper when we went through the time machine...
It didn't just manifest you a few, 100 meters in the air.
We would now be plummeting to our death. Incidentally, if we stand anywhere except on green pixels, we will sink and die.
I bet that was fun to discover.
Certainly was. And I haven't demonstrated that because these mosquitoes will do it for us. Yeah, those are mosquitoes. Mosquitoes that just hang around in a swarm in one specific spot.
Oh, there's blowflies. Not blowflies. What are they? Little fruit flies. You get little clusters of those. That said, if you're a human being and you get killed ever, yes. I did happen to notice that.
So I'm trying to close this door because I got into my head that the cupboard...
that is going to be really bad, isn't it?
Yeah. I got into my head that the cupboard I needed to open was the one directly behind the door, but I'm actually wrong. It's the cupboard to the right of the door, but I'm...
that's exactly. Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly the point where I'd have a tantrum about this come a little, especially because it's an imprecise point and click. Like that's
yes, it is very imprecise. You'll notice that the main character also has no standing still frames. Just the walking frame he was in when he stopped moving, he just stays in that.
Just like every human does. The NPCs standing around waiting for buses.
This is the game I've actually been meaning to Let's Play for quite a long time, because way back in 2007, for the Something Awful Let's Play forum, I did a screenshot Let's Play of Flashback. Which I will probably provide a link to now on this video in annotation somewhere, hopefully. So that was
Note to self: put on connect link to.
Yes, there was a typewriter in that cupboard that has a 4 or 5-digit number on it. We will need that. And I just want to point out that we picked up a plastic bag and insecticide in the last room. If we didn't pick that up, we will end up in a situation where we cannot succeed and cannot go back.
Oh.
Yes,
those are mean, man.
Now, this is the puzzle I got stuck on for the longest time the first time I had this game, because I knew the solution. The solution was to put the flag in the map, but the map isn't an item. The little hole, 1 pixel big, is the item you have to use the flag on. I did not pick up on that for some time. I became very familiar with these first 3 rooms of the game.
It is, like, especially when playing games that you've played before and thinking, okay, this time I can get through it without having to consult an FAQ or without losing my shit. And somehow that again proves disastrously wrong. I'm
trying to save the game, but I've failed to notice that the backup drive is A, which used to be the floppy disk drive on computers.
Yeah.
But,
that used to be a thing.
But can't find the disk. Now I'm unable to save, so I'm thinking, oh shit.
If this saves through DOSBox, doesn't it, you'd have to set up a dump file or set up a partition file thing for DOSBox to understand where you're saving
Trying to access the bloody keypad. But I think I've got a little time left. But when it reaches the top of your head, the roof, rather than animate you crouching or animate you ducked, the roof just slams instantly to the ground.
I like how it says the ceiling was a bit low. Not you got crushed.
I somehow got the impression you'd think worse of me by this point.
I'm not you. I actually understand that these games are old. You forget how to do stuff. You forget to do stuff like set, the A drive to something you can actually save to.
Yeah.